Now in this section, I want to give you a few tips on how you can build credibility. And it's all about basically building trust with your customer. Now, in fact, we've already looked at building credibility primarily through those product reviews, which for me are probably the most important of all of the building credibility exercises you would do. But the other thing I get asked about an awful lot is, what do I do with the Facebook page that we created some time ago and haven't revisited since? Now in the past, and I'm talking several years ago when I used to get asked that question, I would say a lot and I'd have all kinds of tips about what to do with your page. But these days, it's almost pointless doing anything, or should I say, at least do the absolute bare minimum. Now the reason for that is because Facebook has evolved massively since. It used to be that you could have a page and you could reach all of those people who had liked your page. And slowly on that diminished to the point where we're now getting probably 1 to 2% of organic reach. So to put that in perspective, imagine you've got 1,000 likes. When you post something, let's say 1%, that's 10 people might see it. And I say might because it's going to show up in their newsfeed. They might see it, then they've got to click on it and take some action. You can start to see that the probability of anything actually happening with you posting on your page is minimal. Now the other thing, of course, is that you're advertising on Facebook. And again, many lectures ago when we looked at that Facebook ninja trick, you saw all the likes and shares and comments that people were getting on their ads. And the same thing will happen to you, particularly when you find a winning product. So in a sense, you will get that social proof, if you like, through your Facebook advertising. So really, my advice here is simply to tidy up your page. So should somebody visit it, they want to see something. That's really all it is. It's kind of like a bit of a business card in a sense. So what I've done here is I've added a Facebook cover photo and a logo using Canva, which I showed you a long time ago. I've used their templates to literally knock these things up in about 2 minutes and uploaded them to my page. Now from here, what I might do is when I post a product on my site, I might also post it on my page, and should there be any other little bits of info that I might want to give, I may as well post them onto my page. But really, it's just there for credibility should someone visit my page. I don't want to delude myself that somehow this page is getting me any extra business. It's really not. Now, with all that being said, it still is a good idea to get some likes so that when somebody visits your page, they do see some sort of social proof. Now, what you don't want to do is to go off and buy likes from Fiverr or various other services, because they will almost certainly be all fake and you run the risk of having your Facebook page shut down. So not surprisingly, Facebook makes it very easy to buy likes through their system. Now, as I said before, none of these likes are going to be buying from you, okay? This is going to have no impact on your business. And therefore, you basically want to get likes in the cheapest possible way. And buying likes is a marketplace, and the cost of a like varies massively from country to country. So there's absolutely no point buying likes from expensive countries because, as I say, it's not going to impact your business. So in the next lecture or in the next slide, I've got a list of countries for you where you can get likes for around 1, possibly 2 cents a like. Now, I'd recommend getting something like 1,000 likes. That's really all you need. So if you're paying 1 cent, you're looking at investing potentially $10, something like that, in order to get your 1,000 likes. But please don't go any further than that. Now, if you do want to do this, you can see this promote button here. All you need to do is click on that and click on this promote your page. And you can see here this preview that's showing up. It's showing my page logo and it's prompting for a like page. That's how you're going to get your likes. And when you see in the next slide that list of countries, you'll want to add them in here. So when you click on edit here, this is where you would build up in this locations box here. You would enter all of the countries that I've prepared for you and then just click on save and go ahead. And you'll get your likes in no time at all. Make sure that you have a daily budget, which is very low, and run it for a minimum number of days so that you don't go over that $10 limit that I have suggested. So there you go. That's really all you need to do with your Facebook page in order to start building some credibility. Now, another way to build credibility, and something in my opinion is often overlooked, is to build an FAQ page, a frequently asked questions page. Because not only does it help your customer answer their frequently asked questions, but it also demonstrates a level of understanding of your business. It basically builds trust and loyalty and credibility with your business. Now, you can very easily create an FAQ page on your site by simply clicking on Add Page on your Shopify store, or you can come over to an app like this if you want to improve the presentation, for example. It's free, but there's a small paying part if you want to go down that route. But either way, make sure you start constructing a frequently asked questions page right from the very beginning, because in the beginning you won't necessarily know exactly the sorts of questions your customers will be asking. But as time goes by, you will see a pattern evolving. It's inevitable. You will see the 5 or 10 questions that people ask all the time. And it could be anything. It could be about shipping. It could be something to do specifically with your business. It really could be any subject, but you will see a pattern. So start now, and as you see those questions coming in, gradually build out your FAQ page. Now, another thing that builds credibility and certainly confidence is securing your site. So what do I mean by this? Well, what I mean is when people go to e-commerce sites, they like to know that they're in a secure environment. In other words, the data that's being exchanged between the site itself and servers, particularly payment servers, is done in an encrypted fashion, if you like, so that nobody can hack and nobody can get to that information. Now, obviously, once they go off your site to payment providers like PayPal and Stripe, etc., those sites are fully secure. So any payment transactions you never have to worry about. But nevertheless, people do like to see that sense of security when they're on the site itself. So to demonstrate what that looks like in practice, I'm over here on my TMD login area, and you can see a little padlock up here and also HTTPS, S standing for secure. So in technical terms, that means, as I said before, that basically information transfer between this site and a server is encrypted. But more importantly, in psychological terms, people know and they feel they're on a secure site, and therefore they will continue to shop. Or to put it another way, if they don't see that, they might feel they're on an unsecure site and therefore leave. So how do we set this up? Well, if you bought your domain through Shopify, then you already have this by default. You have nothing else to do. And equally, if you bought your domain through TMD hosting, then you also have nothing to do. I'm now over here on my site. As you know, I connected my domain to my Shopify store, as I demonstrated to you some time ago. And you can see here, I've got the little padlock and I've got the HTTPS. Now, if you bought your domain elsewhere, you just need to check. You might get it by default. So simply go to your store and see if you can see that padlock and the HTTPS. But if you don't see that, you might have to go through some sort of procedure to set up what's called an SSL certificate. Often that's free, sometimes it can be paying, but it totally depends on your hosting provider. So there we go, a very, very simple but a very, very important step towards building that credibility and trust with your customer. So everything that we've done in this section up to this point, so the Facebook page, the FAQ page, and securing your site, I would say are absolutely essential. You really should implement those 3 things. But in this lecture, I want to give you some things that are not necessarily essential on day one, but that you might want to implement in the future when your business is more up and running. So please don't get bogged down in these things right now. It's just there to whet your appetite and get you thinking about how you might add further credibility 6 months or so from now. So this first suggestion is to implement some sort of live chat. I've no doubt you've been on some sort of site where at some point a little thing has popped up and said, how can I help you? Well, that's kind of what TDO Live Chat and many other live chat apps can do for you. Now, live chat is great, but of course you then need to be responsive. If you type something in and nobody replies, then in some ways that decreases credibility. So you need to be able to react. But having said that, these types of apps also allow the user to see that actually at the moment you're offline, and basically you then get a message a bit later on. Now, that's not ideal. You would prefer to be more reactive, but at least you're getting something. At least you have the opportunity to build that relationship. And then you can grow. As you basically build, you might want to get a virtual assistant, a VA, to be there to answer your questions. Or you might say to yourself, well, do you know what? I'm basically here anyway most of the time, so I will be able to answer these questions, at least for those potential customers within my time zone. Now, the other thing you might want to do is to include a telephone number on your site so that people can call you. Now, this needs some careful thought, because if they call you, clearly they want to have some sort of response or some sort of answering system. So please don't be tempted to use your own mobile telephone number. That will make it very, very difficult to manage your business, and probably at best you'll look fairly unprofessional. But you could get a Skype in number for a very small fee, or you could use services like this Grasshopper site, where you can basically get a business telephone number that you can then put on your site, and you get all kinds of other functionality with this, as well allowing you to do things like leave voicemails, etc. So there we go, just a quick lecture, as I said before, to whet your appetite. I really don't think from day one you need to worry about live chat or even contact telephone numbers on your site, as I said. But certainly as you grow, let's say once you get past perhaps $5,000 a month, I would certainly consider building the credibility of your site by providing services such as these.